Part 14. 1869, Worst Freshet in Brattleboro's History. Brattleboro, Vermont, is frequently affected by flooding. Brattleboro is located on the banks of the Connecticut River, which also forms the border between Vermont and New Hampshire. The West River and Whetstone Brook ends in the Connecticut River in Brattleboro. Known to Native Americans as Wantestek and Kittadoo, Woganisai, Boses. Whetstone Brook flows directly through the center of Brattleboro. The source of Whestone Brook is at Hidden Lake, near Marlborough, Vermont. On the way from Hidden Lake to the Connecticut River, Whetstone Brook climbs nearly 400 meters, making a dangerous torrent during floods. The majority of Whetstone Brook's watershed. The Whetstone Brook was Brattleboro's lifeline. Dams and mills were built to collect the water power for mills and factories. Between West Brattleboro and Brattleboro, the Whetstone Brook winding its way through narrow valleys, until a natural flood basin in the center of Brattleboro is reached. In this basin, in the center of Brattleboro, the Whetstone Brook repeatedly overflows its banks during floods. The water then flows through a narrowing into the Connecticut River. Before Whetstone Brook flows into the Connecticut River, it must climb over a fall. For example, there was a flood in 1853. After heavy rains, the water collected in the Whetstone Brook and began its destruction a mile above the village. Dams, bridges, and parts of buildings were damaged and swept away. In 1862, there was a great flood of the Connecticut River. The island in the Connecticut River, opposite Brattleboro, was flooded. All but one house at the island was destroyed. One of the two bridges connecting Brattleboro to neighboring Hinsdale was also swept away. But the flood of 1869 was worse than all before. According to Rutland Weckley from 1869, after heavy rains in the USA, there was probably destruction by floods from North Carolina to Maine. But Vermont probably suffered the most destructions. This also happened to Brattleboro. After heavy rains, the Whetstone Brook began to rise. After the Whetstone Brook had already left a trail of destruction, it reached the center of Brattleboro. It was around 11:10 a.m. on a Monday when everyone began to bring machines, horses, and carriages to safety from the incoming floodwaters. But it took less than 10 minutes for the flood to take control. Valuables were now ignored, and the focus was on saving lives. Workers and people were brought to safety, on higher ground, at the last second. All bridges, between the railroad bridge in Brattleboro and the covered bridge in West Brattleboro, were swept away. The flood swept away the Main Street Bridge completely. The current from Whetstone Brook was so strong that it reached over the Connecticut River, causing damage to the bridge's foundations. 2 citizens were lost. Adolf Friedrich was drowned, and Kitty Barrett, 16, drowned. After the bridge at the woolen mill was demolished, the water made its way to the J. Estey Company factory. J. Estey Company built a new factory at this spot in 1866. Until 1866, the Whetstone-Brook Flood Basin area was still undeveloped. In 1869, J. Estey Company operated 2 organ factories in Brattleboro. The Estey Main Street Bridge Factory was built in 1858. This bridge was swept away by the flood in 1869. The Brattleboro Melodeon Company was built in 1867 from Silas M. Waite. Running with the participation of Julius Jacob Estey, son of Jacob Estey, as treasurer. The second Estey factory was built in 1866 at this spot. So, after the bridge at the woolen mill was demolished, the water made its way to the second Estey factory. Flooded the natural basin and carried Estey's lumber down to the Connecticut River. Factories and Free Reed Organs by J. Estey Company, Brattleboro, Vermont, 1869. The problem with flooding in Brattleboro continues to this day. The last major flood was in 2023. In the following years, till today, residential buildings and factories were built in the area of the natural basin of Whetstone Brook. Renaturalization projects are in progress to minimize future damage to this area. 3 important projects and information about flooding in Brattleboro. We are now at this point in the Jacob Estey series. After the 2 fires in the Estey factories on Main Street Bridge in 1857, and 1864, this flood was the next disaster for Estey in a short time. But, from an early age, Jacob Estey learned to take his destiny into his own hands. Jacob Estey, when he ran away from Hinsdale, New Hampshire, to Worcester, Massachusetts, at the age of 13, with only $2 in his pocket and a bundle of clothes under his arm, in 1827. Jacob Estey portrayed Yankee thrift like no other. Use it up, wear it out, make it do, or do without. Jacob Estey on tour, selling his first free reed organs, himself, 1853. After the fire in 1857, a new, even larger factory was built. After another fire in 1864, the company was restructured to generate new funds. Then, another new factory was built. Estey used the disaster as an opportunity to improve. He looked for a flood and fireproof location for a new Estey factory. Coming next. The world's largest free reed organ factory. Built in Brattleboro, Vermont, USA,